All right, so in this video, I'm going to be covering a really simple trick that you and your trio can do to secure more impacts in half-half circle and moving zones if you can get really good at it. So definitely pay attention to this trick because I really think this is something groundbreaking that a lot of people are not doing yet. If you have been VOD reviewing top tier pros, you should know this trick already, seriously. And use this as a sign. Like if you don't know this trick already, you are not VOD reviewing enough, you're not watching the top tier pros. They have a ton of videos on YouTube in terms of highlights and ton of videos even in the client, right? Like in the game itself, if you go to the compete tab and watch all their games, so you can really figure out some trick like this that'll really help you out. So definitely pay attention. I think this trick is a really useful one, and you'll find it's really practical actually in FNCS and future competitions regardless of which season it is. Basically what we're going to be doing here is we're going to pretend that the brick boxes are enemy boxes, right? You know, some formation of boxes that they've made for their base, and the metal boxes is our formation of boxes, the team's formation of boxes, right? So I'm going to be in this box along with my trio if we just pretend the trio is in here with me, right? And essentially, like, I notice, okay, like there's an enemy team up in these boxes, right? I'm going to notice that right away. So I'm going to call my trio over. Yo, come over, like I have an impact play, like come over to me. I'm going to quickly box like this, quickly switch to a different mat type other than brick so that my team knows when to stop spraying, and they're going to be sitting right here, right? The two of them spraying this floor while I'm sitting right here holding it, okay? And unfortunately I don't have other trio members. This is like, it's like 2-3 a.m. right now. I don't have other trio members to like demonstrate this with me, but just imagine that my teammates are sitting back here and spraying AR at this floor to capture it. Eventually what's gonna happen, right, is I'm gonna get the floor, whether it be the first try, the second try, or even the third try. I'm gonna end up getting the floor. And what that means is that, you know, since it's changed to a different material type, my team then knows to stop spraying AR, because if they continue to spray, it'll break the floor again and the enemies might get it back, because obviously the enemies are going to instinctively try to hold the floors, right? So in this case, I get the floor, maybe first try or even second try, and then I edit it like this, right? And then the team is going to immediately start spraying. It's going to be seamless, right? It's going to be right away. They're going to immediately start replacing this code. Now at this point it doesn't matter what mat type you have, because you're not really going to do anything. The holder out of this trio, the holder is going to be holding a stair. Okay, now this is key because a lot of people make the mistake of holding a roof, right? What's the point of holding a roof? If you spray this roof out, get the roof, right? And then you do some sort of edit like this, and the enemy can actually get caught right here. You'll notice, right? You can actually get caught if they edit like this, right? I don't fall, and that's the problem, right? Is that some edit, whatever edit you make, there's always a spot, actually pretty wide range of area where you will not fall, and there's actually very little edits that you can do. There is one edit that you can do that is like, you know, this one, but you fall pretty consistently. But even then, if you're all the way in the corner, you don't really fall. Now the fix for this, right, is really to use a stair. You must use a stair. I really believe the fact that the stair is the best way to do it. So if we reenact this one more time, right, my two teammates are right behind me and they're going to be spraying forward while I'm holding. Usually you get the person with the lowest ping to hold the piece so that you can get it first try ideally, or even second try at worst, right? So you're going to be holding the stair, they're going to be spraying just like this from back here, and I'm going to be constantly holding, and you get the stair and they're going to fall. And as soon as they fall, right, as soon as they fall, you reset this, and you should be good to go. And honestly, it might even be better to just leave the cone like this. I would argue that doing this is not even a good thing. You used to do this for crash pads, but honestly, leave the cone like this, right? It's a good idea to make sure that they fall into your box and, you know, don't get caught up on this top side right here. So just leave the cone like this, let them fall. As soon as they fall, it's very important that you reset this. You're the holder, this is your responsibility. You reset this, take a shot, and then start holding, right? If you take a shot and start ARing, the enemy team might take this piece back for themselves, edit on you, and then shoot you from up here, because the rest of the team is going to try to help their teammates, right? So definitely make sure that once you get the floor, right, and they fall down, you go for a pump shot as fast as you possibly can, and then reset and hold for your team, because obviously your team's going to be either ARing or immediately going after the kill. Okay, so definitely make sure you practice this play in creative before you attempt it in a real game, because I find that most people, when, you know, trying to execute some sort of rehearsed play like this, will often get some minor detail wrong, and then the opportunity's gone, right? Because you gave away your play and you messed up very slightly, the opportunity is gone. So make sure you do this with your trio. Literally go into creative, right? Back in the day, me and my trio used to do like crash pad plays, pre-edit plays, all sorts of things, like literally a ton of rehearsed plays we learned from Cami from EU. And I really recommend you rehearse this in creative. Like actually go into creative. I think you're trolling if you don't try to practice in creative before you do it in scrims. And I know it's like a very simple thing, but again, even the simple things can be hard if you've never done them before, right? Like for example, having the minor details down, like not having your ramp like this, otherwise the kill slips away. If you don't get that impact, the whole game changes from there. So really make sure you get every detail correct. Keep the cone down, use a different mat type other than the mat type that was previously there. Let's say it was brick originally, use a different mat type so your team knows exactly when to stop spraying, because originally, right, it's not going to be like this, it's going to be like this, right? And your team's going to be spraying, and if you use brick by accident, your team's not going to easily have an indication as to when you got the floor. So they might continue spraying. You might have had the floor right now, they're going to continue spraying, breaking it, and then next time it's broken, right, maybe the enemy gets it. So then that's bad also, right? There's all sorts of minor details that you need to do while executing plays like this, that you really need to make sure. Some people, I've seen all sorts of wrong things, right? I've seen some people make edits like this, which isn't ideal. I've seen some people make edits like this, which isn't ideal. Anyone standing back here is not gonna be able to shoot the enemy, and they're gonna have an opportunity to like play cones, right, and have some sort of counterplay. So really make sure you have every little detail down. I honestly think that this sort of edit is the best. Having the cone down is the best. Using different mat type is the best. So these three things for this type of play is the most optimal thing that you can do. So definitely make sure you're doing that. And then once you execute the play, you should be able to get the impact. This sort of play right here that we're describing is best done in half-half zone because of the fact that it's very, very congested. There's a lot of teams around you, and you can sort of go for a play on someone that's stationary next to you. Now, if you practice this with your trio a lot in creative before trying it in a real game, believe it or not, you will be able to do this in moving zones, right? Let's say, you know, moving zone ends right there at where my cursor is, and then you just tarp over, you're tarping straight, you know, moving zone's going north, you tarp straight, right? And then you notice that there's a team up here, right? Just like this. Maybe there's a team like this, right? And then what you can do, right, as soon as you notice this sort of thing, is you immediately set yourself up, call your team over, make the correct edit, keep the cone down, use a different mat type, call your team over, you're all spraying, right? Got it? Right? You're gonna do the edit properly, not like mine. Again, so the rehearsal is gonna be very important, right? I'm not used to it because I haven't practiced. But then shoot this one out, you know, and you're holding ramp, right? You're holding ramp while they're shooting. You're not the one shooting, right? If you're the holder role, you need to make sure you're constantly holding. And I would even discuss in creative or outside of the game in preparation to decide who's gonna do what. Usually put your lowest ping player on the holding role and everyone else on the AR role. It doesn't really matter what ping they have, right? Because the only ping matters is the guy who's holding the piece. And once you have this, they fall. Remember, pump shot, reset, and hold. That's it. Really simple. Right? Again, you're going to be holding, and then make sure once you get the kill, you hop in, pick up the body, bring it back here. You do not ever want to finish the body here because of the fact that, you know, if you have loot here, this is very vulnerable piece, right? If I'm the teammate of the guy who just got killed, I'm going to be focusing my hardest to take the speed back and go for a shot on you, right? So really make sure that you bring the body back, reset this, bring it back even here, right? And throw it back here, even if you have to, or somewhere back safe in your actual tarp, not this sort of neutral box that we've created that is dangerous from above, right? So get it out of that box. It's very sketch to leave it and leave the loot there. Bring it back here where it's completely safe, and just make sure you put the loot in a safe spot like this where you can manage it. And even, you know, potentially if you tarp ahead all the way and then zone pulls back, you're gonna have those mats in your tarp eventually to use later. So definitely bring it back to your tarp. A lot of people don't use the, you know, pick up body and throw it function in Fortnite, which I honestly think is one of the most important things in competitive in Endgame. A lot of people love finishing bodies in really awkward spots, so definitely bring it back and make sure it's in a good spot for your team. Make sure you guys aren't making mistakes, and if you notice someone on your team is making some sort of mistake, it's your duty to make sure that they're doing it right, and that they have it fixed before a tournament comes. The worst thing that could happen to you is messing it up in a tournament. Like the one chance you need to get that impact, you need that impact, otherwise you're not going to do well that game, and then it slips away because some odd reason, something you forgot, right? So definitely make sure that it's practiced and well rehearsed as a team. Any sort of team play that you want to do, pre-edits or even, you know, like this sort of strategy, you definitely want to rehearse in creative and make sure that you have it down. Here's an example of Clarity, Rogue Shark, and Knight doing this exact strategy in a real game at full speed.
Right here, ready? Come here. Grab that. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ramping it. Dead. 1 AC, dead.
Get the body, I'm holding.
I'm running.
I'm holding two. I have pump.
I want to remind you guys that the key part of this strategy, why it works so well, is not for any particular reason. It's not the fact that you're spraying up and knocking someone down. It's the fact that you're using a ramp instead of using a cone, or pretending like, you know, just spraying at a cone that's the enemies is going to phase them down, because that's not a reliable way to do it. So make sure you're using the ramp, because that's the unique part of this trick that's different from everything else you're used to. I'm sure a ton of trios that are watching this video right now have already tried a spray down, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to really make sure you're doing that ramp phase, and that's going to, you know, amplify your chances of getting that enemy to come down to your box. And once they drop into your box, it's definitely a favorable 3v1 situation for your team. You should always win that and get a free impact for yourself.